Are you looking for new books to read? Do you like finding a new special author? Are you tired of the same old books from the same old authors? Well then, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths, a podcast where you can hear from fantastic new authors. Join Stephen Schneider as he finds and talks to authors you may not know, but authors that have worked hard to write great new books. Hear about their book and why you should check it out. So sit back and listen to today's Discovered Wordsmith.
All right. Well, Tara, let me give you an official welcome. It's good to have you on. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
And we're going to talk a bit about Kobo, which is who you work for. Before we do that, tell us a little bit about you and your job and what Kobo is.
Sure. So my name is Tara Kremen, and I'm the director of Kobo Writing Life for English language. So what that means is that I kind of run the Kobo Writing Life side on the English-based languages, which is the self-publishing platform that allows authors and publishers anywhere to really easily publish their ebooks and audiobooks and make them available on Kobo and Kobo's partner sites. So then to explain what Kobo is, I think a lot of people wonder about the name, and it really is all about books to the state that Kobo is an anagram of the word book. And it is a digital retailer that sells ebooks and audiobooks and is available in all over the world. It's headquartered here in Canada, which is where it's based, where it was created. But our parent company is Rakuten, which is a Japanese e-commerce company.
Right. Yes. They also, I think, own GameStop, I believe, which is big down here. Maybe.
I don't know about GameStop. They are, in terms of where you might recognize them from, they're one of the sponsors for their Golden State Warriors. So you might have seen Rakuten on some jerseys. And for FC Barcelona as well, which is like a great team. But they acquired Ebates not that long ago. So Ebates is known by Rakuten now, which is that rewards-based system. So that might have been familiar, but they do have their foot in a lot of things. So they could indeed be involved with GameStop, and I might have missed that because there are so many products from like Fiverr and Viki and Yes. They basically do anything you can think of digitally, they do.
Got it. Okay. So just about everybody listening probably knows about Amazon, but Amazon isn't just books. That's how they started. And I ordered some books from them clear back in the day. But they have a little bit of everything that you can get, whereas Kobo is really just the book part of it. I don't know if that's confusing for people sometimes. What would you say to somebody that says, well, I've got Amazon. I don't understand why there'd be another one, why I would need another one.
Yeah, I think that depends on where you're from. So in Canada, Kobo would be quite well known and synonymous with ebooks because it kind of was created here and kind of partnered with Chapters Indigo, which is a big brick and mortar store, which is very, very well known. So that would be quite well known here. I think the main differentiator, or not the main differentiator, but yes, so the reason why people would kind of be wondering why a Kobo, we've actually been around for quite some time. So I think it's the 11th or 12th year into Kobo's existence. So we have been kind of selling books and being available in the digital retail space for some time. And we're, while we might not be as well known in the States, we have a footprint all over the world. We have some very strong partnerships in Europe and in Australia and New Zealand, in Asian countries as well, especially Japan, given that our parent company is Japanese. But so whereas Kobo might not ring book to you right away, in other countries, it definitely would because, depending on when people get to market first and things like that. So yeah, you have to think about like 11 years ago, Amazon wasn't everywhere. It seems like it is now, slowly taking over the world. But yeah, that sort of explains how we fit and align with them.
So Kobo focuses on digital. You don't do anything with print. You don't have print. Is I guess has that made a difference? Do you think, good or bad, or is print something that's considered? Just interested.
Yeah, I think it's definitely made a difference in that it like allows us to have our focus on the digital product. So Kobo, we sell ebooks and audiobooks available on our apps, which are kind of on iOS and Android. But we also make some of the best e-readers in the world. I would say the best e-readers in the world. So every time we have an e-reader that comes out, they get crazy good reviews, and they're just like really, really great digital reading experiences. I myself use the Kobo format and I love it. It has tons of books, waterproof, basically. I was going to say smash proof, but don't quote me on that. But they have everything that you could want in a digital product. So definitely focusing on digital has allowed us to put all of this extra time and energy into that. And that's not to say that we disregard physical books. We are book fans. I have too many books in my house, as most people do as well.
Who doesn't?
But what we exactly, yeah. I'm one of those people that I actually really like hardcovers as well. The heavier and the harder to lug around, I sometimes just really enjoy those. But we kind of decided that the best strategy would be to partner with people that already know the book selling, if in the print side, inside and out. So with the likes of some of the brick and mortar stores that I mentioned, like Indigo in Canada, and we have Fnac in France, and there's other kind of other places throughout the world. So what we were able to do was sort of bring our digital expertise to them and allow their customers to have the option of digital reading, and then we can link books to the print books there. So we're kind of giving customers the option for everything, because Kobo's ethos is sort of just making, getting as many books in front of as many people, however they would like to read them. So that's kind of, yeah, we're basically all about books in all the forms. So whereas we don't do print
Right.
ourselves, our partners do a great job at that.
But allowing yourself to focus on digital and that being your main thing, do you feel you can offer a better experience for readers to buy books, read books, than the others, let's say?
Absolutely. I do think so, because we definitely just live and breathe books. So we're not trying to get you into the Kobo ecosystem to then sell you something else, not trying to sell you a vacuum cleaner or a microwave. We just want to sell you the next book that you want to read. So I think just having that focus lets us just really hone in on what we're doing, and try and make it the best experience for everyone. Um, so, for example, it lets us kind of really take time with making our devices and apps, and really use the people within the company. We often we do internal betas for new projects. So if there's a new device that's coming out, we have our own staff that can help test that stuff, and then we do a lot of customer interviews as well, just really taking the time to talk to people about the books they want, and how they want the reading experience to be improved. So one example of this feedback that we've gotten is, I'm just going to pull up the official name I have in front of me. So one of our devices, one of the features that we have is enhanced ebook navigation. So one of the pieces of feedback that we kind of got consistently is that, it's very easy to flip back and forth within a physical book. If you wanted to look at one page and then go to the other one,
Right.
that's really easily done when you're actually just holding the book in your hand and you've got one finger holding the page at the beginning of the book that you want to go back to. But we wanted to make this experience the same digitally. So we have this enhanced book navigation. So how it works is that we actually pull up a secondary screen, and that allows you to quickly flip through the book and just go back to the page that you wanted, but you don't lose your first page. And we let you take really easy annotations. You can flip back and forth it's something that I think really helps improve reading nonfiction, because sometimes you read a
Right.
nonfiction book and then you pick it up 3 months later. You're like, what was that referring to, like, two chapters beforehand? If it's something that's really dense. So it's
Right.
easy to flip through in that regard. So yeah, that's just like some way that the team were able to innovate into really making that great. And then another couple of features that we have as well. One of them that people kind of, I think, forget that we have with our devices is that we have Pocket integration. And so what Pocket does is allows you to save articles from the internet. So if you're doing your browsing or anything, you can save an
Nice.
article and actually just read
Yeah.
it later on your e-reader. So, if you wanted to dive into the New York Times or something, but just didn't want to be doing it while, you were meant to be getting back to that email, you can save it to Pocket and then read it on your
Right.
e-reader later, at your own comfort. So I think that's really handy.
Oh
And
man, I
then
did.
one last, oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say that feature alone, I didn't realize that myself because there are lots of times I have 50 tabs open, and it's because I want to read something later or look at something later, and I've gotten some tricks to where I get a read-only view and I'll save it as a PDF and then send the PDF to some device to read later or store it in the cloud or something. So being able to send it right to the device that I'm reading all my stuff on, I love that. So okay, sorry. What
Yeah.
else?
No, I was going to say Pocket is like the unsung feature that people love, but I think that we maybe don't tell people enough about. Because I have a terrible system where I save articles as drafts in my email when I want to go back to them. I do it a
Right.
lot for my recipes, so it's just like all unnamed, just with links, and it's really disorganized and terrible. But yeah, Pocket
Yeah,
makes it much, much easier.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so you were going to say something else. What other features?
Yeah, so and then the last feature that we have to kind of just again make the reading experience as good as it can be is that our devices also have integration with Overdrive. So you can access the library system right within your Kobo device. So it allows you to, put a book on hold and then like I was going to say rent a library book, borrow a library book, whatever book that you would like. So it's very, very easy. It's all within the app. You don't have to like side load anything. It can be all done wirelessly. So yeah, just some innovations that we were trying to do to create the best experience for our customers.
Nice. I didn't know some of those. Um, Now, what about using the device? Well, first of all, I should ask: Are you mostly do you mostly have independent publishing books, or do you have some traditional books on there too?
Oh, we have everything. Any book you can think of, really, that is published widely throughout the world. Yeah, we have that there. So all of the traditionally published books, and the independent ones as well. So I think our catalog is 6 million titles and growing. So yeah, there's no lack of books. You would be kind of hard to find something that you weren't looking for.
Got it. Okay. So, um, on the device, if I'm in one of those moods that I'm browsing, looking for something new, um, how do you have on the device that I can look through a genre or find a new book, discover a new book, or look to see what sales there may be, or if can you wish list anything to look up later or anything like that?
Yeah, I guess it might be good to name out some of the devices that we have, just to rather than
Okay.
just saying Kobo, because they do all have different names. So the Kobo Forma is kind of our premium e-reader. It's at the highest price point. It is beautiful. I love it. It's very light, very ergonomic in the shape that it is. So then the next kind of tier of e-reader that we have is the Kobo Libra H2o. So this is like a smaller, kind of more affordable version of the Kobo Forma. It has some of the same features. It's also waterproof, so bath time reading, you don't have to worry. even it's a reassurance for me. I'm very clumsy, so if I spill my glass of water or anything when they're waterproof, you don't have to worry about that. And also sandproof, which is great at the beach, because it being waterproof, just sand doesn't get into anything. Because that's always what I'm worried about with like my phone or anything, that you get sand stuck in like the charging ports and stuff. So that's just something to keep in mind.
You're right.
And then we have, oh yeah, the Kobo Clara HD. And then we have the Kobo Nia, which is our kind of entry level e-reader that is kind of 6-inch. They all have different variants on the comfort light, which is very similar to how kind of night shift mode works on your phone. So you can time it at a certain time depending on the device that you have. So it shifts to orange light rather than the blue light, which really makes nighttime reading just much easier on your eyes, especially, a lot of us are on screens all day long and kind of trying to get the blue tint away. So we want it to look as much like a page as possible, but even better because it's illuminated, so you don't have to get up to turn the light off, which I like. So I lost your question there. So you're asking about what we can do for kind of promotions and buying on the devices themselves?
Well, yeah, as a reader looking on the device, maybe I just read 5 books this week. I need something new. I'm not sure what. So what are some ways the device helps readers find books or look up books they may want, or, recommend books or anything like that?
Okay, yeah, we do have a wish list, so you can add to your wish list throughout. So that's kind of a handy feature. You can build different collections too, I think, within your book, so you can keep track of what's there. In terms of trying to get the right book to the right reader, we really want everyone's bookstore to be kind of augmented to their taste. So when you're browsing and buying books, we're really trying to learn what you would like. So our algorithms are sort of working in the background to kind of go to your taste. So we definitely do this, but what I think makes Kobo a little bit unique is that we do still have lots of merchandisers that are working all the time on trying to pick the best books. And because we have this global footprint, and we know that book selling can vary from region to region, we have local merchandisers too. So we have people in France that are tailoring to the French reading experience. We have people in Italy, the UK, and they're all kind of focusing on that. So what that means really is that when we're coming up with the promotions, there's a human behind them that's like really deciding what we want to promote. It lets us really hop on different trends very quickly if we want to, and allows us to have that personal touch. But then we balance this with the algorithms so within these promotions, we're wanting to show you the book that you want. So it is a delicate balance between, using machines to, they're much cleverer than we are at sorting large amounts of data, but they're not
Right.
a very clever at the end that, we find that you do still need a human touch. So it is a little bit of everything. And we have emails that go out. You can purchase directly on the device as well. So we have different promotional opportunities and seasonal stuff and things like that. So there's lots of good stuff going on.
And can I still go to like a website on my computer and browse and log in with my account and then buy or save things and they appear on my device?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So they sync easily. So if you go to kobo.com, you can see everything that's available there. And then you can also sync them on your app as well, that you can download for free. So it's easy syncing between like the app and the e-reader.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I
And
can
one
still
thing
read
that's,
the app
oh,
on my
sorry.
phone or on my,
Yeah, on your
no, I was
phone
just
or your
saying
tablet
the
or
app
whatever
on the
you're
computer.
using.
Nice. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry. But so one of the other things that
No,
I
that's
wanted to
okay.
kind
A
of,
bit of a lag.
yeah. That's just because we're here in Canada, just far north. The internet
Well,
has to travel
I was
far.
going to make, yeah, yeah, I was going to make some joke about, the border patrol has to stop and check the data stream before it shoves it up there. And it's probably cold, so it probably slows everything down, but we're good. So go ahead.
Exactly. But just some other things that are kind of might be interesting for customers to know about is that we also have super points. So these are kind of where you accrue points on on every purchase. So when you make a purchase, you earn super points, and then it's like a loyalty reward. So when you have an X amount of super points, then you can use that to purchase books. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we also have
Nice.
a VIP customer um, uh, I'm trying to think of the word, VIP membership that customers can apply to take a part in. So you pay an annual fee, and what this allows you to do is you get extra super points, and also you get access to promotions that are just for the VIP users. So there's a lot of benefits to kind of signing up for something like that as well, because we're just trying to give stuff back to the customers as much as possible where we can.
Nice. And you just recently started Kobo Plus. I'm not sure where all that's available. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Kobo Plus is the subscription platform that Kobo has. So it's where customers can pay a monthly fee, and it's an all-you-can-read model. So we created this in 2017, but it was just available in Belgium and the Netherlands. And that was partly because of a strong partnership there that we have with ball.com. So we partnered with them to kind of roll out this subscription service to the readers there, and it's been really successful. So we were sort of taking those learnings, and we're applying that to different areas. And the latest one that we've applied it to was Canada, where we launched Kobo Plus last summer. So it's been really exciting to sort of watch how consumers have reacted to that. Customers seem really positive about it and seem to like the kind of reading experience. But at the same time, it's a balance because it's also new customers that we tend to get from this. So your subscription reader is often not the same as the person that is going to be just buying the books that they want to read. So it's been very interesting to see sort of different reader behavior when you do have these models that are available. And what makes this really enticing, because I work with independent authors, is that there's no exclusivity when you opt your books in. So you don't have to just publish on Kobo.
That's awesome.
We always encourage people to have your books available in as many platforms as possible.
Right. Right. Yeah, I got a couple of questions about author stuff in a moment. But considering you're worldwide, have you noticed anything interesting about what genres or what types of books are selling better in one part of the world as opposed to another, or some interesting new genres or some books that maybe you hadn't seen before that are starting to come up? Any little interesting things like that?
Yeah, there definitely is different nuances. I'd have to have a think now. Actually, I was just talking to some of the team that work on the Australian books this morning, and we were commenting about how there seems to be a big trend in historical fiction and historical romance in Australia. Like it's much more popular than the same genre is in Canada, which we don't really understand why, but we just sort of thought it was interesting, and it's kind of fun to track those different things. In France, we've noticed that kind of coming of age titles do very well. We have a couple of authors that are independently publishing that are doing really, really well in France right now. Um, and it's sort of it's not quite YA, it's maybe like a step up from YA, kind of a sweet coming of age novel. Standalones as well, which is kind of interesting because that goes against what tends to be very, very popular in North America, which is serialized
Right.
content. So yeah, there's definitely different things there. In the Netherlands, they have a whole month that's dedicated to thrillers, so they're big fans of thrillers there. I can't remember what month it is. I feel like it's
Wow.
November or something. But yeah, they have this whole thing. So it's interesting to learn the different areas of popularity and to see what's going on. I guess one thing that's also interesting is just when new trends emerge from outside sources. So, for example, TikTok is so popular right now, and one of the authors that is kind of seeing really good kind of promotions from TikTok particular is Jennifer L Armentrout. So her books are just blowing up, and it's because of TikTok, which, I don't even really understand TikTok. But we're keeping an eye on everything. My team
Oh, that
assure
means you're
me it's
getting
very
old.
fun. I know. My team are like, it's very fun, and you should be on it. But I'll just take their word for it and have them report back.
Right. So like I mentioned, I hear you a lot on author podcasts, and you do a lot with helping authors and have a lot of things. So from the author standpoint, the one nice thing about Kobo, as opposed to some other people we won't mention, is that we have a lot of control over the publishing, over the pricing, over the promotions. And I know there's some good promotions going on quite a bit. Have you noticed that authors may come onto Kobo and have a better success rate with their new books and people discovering them as opposed to elsewhere? Not that you know elsewhere, but that you've heard the feedback.
Yeah, the feedback that we get quite often is that just authors are always just kind of astounded at the countries that they will be selling in. So we have this great map that's on the dashboard, and it kind of shows where your books are being purchased and read. So we just get a lot of feedback that it's like, I sold a book in Brazil and didn't realize that, or sub-Saharan Africa, or there's someone in Fiji is buying my book. So I think that really shows the reach that Kobo has. So I think one sort of misconception that people have with independent publishing is that it's only focusing on the US or North America, and that's really not the case. Readers exist everywhere, and having these books available digitally just gives you a bigger opportunity to hit up these readers.
So have you had any notice or feedback, like if an author is published on the Zon in America, and then they also go to Kobo, do they still sell books in America, or are they mostly selling books in Canada and elsewhere? Have you noticed any trends like that?
Yeah, so like again, we don't have exclusivity, so you can definitely publish with Amazon and Kobo at the same time, just as long as you're not breaking like Amazon's
Kindle
exclusivity.
Unlimited.
Um,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So it depends on whether or not you're taking part in that. But if you're not and you're publishing widely, yeah, we definitely see a lot of sales throughout. I think Amazon is still such a giant in the US. But what's interesting to me is that with audiobooks that authors are publishing through us, that we're selling quite a few audiobooks in the US, compared to, when I look at authors ranking in like the geos that they're selling in, it's quite often, Canada and Australia and, the UK. And if they're publishing in different languages, they might have extra like high sales in France. Like, for example, we have authors that have translations that sell more in France than they do in Canada, which is always just very impressive to me, that your French readership is really sort of outweighing the English books you have available. But yeah, I would say kind of just, we definitely get the feedback that people kind of selling worldwide. And I think the main thing to kind of keep in mind, if you are publishing widely, meaning that you're on all of the multiple retailers, is to just keep your books wide as long as possible. Because again, that tells your readers that they're there. It tells our algorithms that your book is there, and you don't have to kind of work to rise your temperature again. So your temperature is sort of what we call the like ranking of your book on Kobo, because we take into account your sales, but our search also takes into account how many times your book has been searched for, its ranking activity compared to the books of the same kind of, similar genres. So if people are searching for your book and clicking on it a lot, this raises like your temperature to make you kind of like hotter on the Kobo store. But every time you remove your book from Kobo, you have to earn that back again. So that can be something that takes a little bit of time. So I think once you get that, I would kind of encourage you to keep it. And yeah, I think the other kind of main retailers would give you the same advice.
Right. Agreed. So let me ask, you're a book reader. You've been a book reader. Is there something great you're reading right now, or better, growing up, what's been some of your favorite books?
So right now I'm actually reading for Kobo every year has the Emerging Writers Prize that's available to new writers in Canada. So we do fiction, nonfiction, and there's always a different genre that rotates. And this year it's mystery. So it's for Canadian authors that published their first book in one of these genres in 2020. So I think this is like the seventh year that we've been doing it, and then they win $10,000 in each genre. It's like, back
Nice.
in the before times, we would have a fun party, and we get to promote their books. So the Kobo staff help with the long list, and we whittle it down. And then we send that to our judges, and they go through the list themselves. So right now, I am working through that, and there's some great books on the list. I'm really enjoying it, but the deadline is coming up, so I have to read more quickly. um, but I think growing up, I'm trying to think of the books that I liked. I really liked the classics when I was a kid, but I don't know if I really understood them. But I think I used to just like pretending to read them. But my favorite author, I think, is Paul Auster. I really like his books. I studied one of his books in university and kind of forgot about him. And then when I moved to Canada, uh, we don't have this in Ireland where people just leave books on the street for you to pick up. Like, so it's quite a novelty for me. And in fact, I actually just picked up a really good book the other day. It was the Life of George O'Keeffe. So once I'm finished my judging, I'm excited to crack into that.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, but when I moved here, I found a Paul Auster book, and I was like, yeah, I recognize him, and I liked that one novel. And just from picking up that one on the street, it led me to read all of his other books. And I was lucky enough that when he released his latest book, which was maybe 2 years ago, called 1234, I believe. Um, he came to Toronto and did a talk, and I got to meet him and just really splurged out like that. I studied you in university, and then I picked your book off the street, and it was great. And I was just like, that's probably not what you should tell an author. He was more interested to be like, oh, what university? Like, they're studying my books. But his stuff is really great, and that book was wonderful. It was just so interesting. So it's called 1234 because it tells the story of this boy's life, but it's almost like um, the butterfly effect, kind of like. So it's like something happens at the beginning of his life. So it's the same boy, the same family, but the life trajectory is different. So when you're reading a chapter, you'll read chapter
Oh, wow.
1.1, and then it'll be 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and it tells
Cool.
this boy's story, but like it shifts what he tells him. Yeah, I really loved the
Like,
format. It was
like
very
multiple
interesting. It's
universes.
yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Multiple. Yeah, I never put that together before. But super interesting. And yeah, it's a big book. So it took me a while to get through because I'm kind of a slow reader. But yeah, so that was my favorite. I'm
Well,
waiting for his next book
it
to
sounds
come
like
out,
it would.
whenever that is.
It sounds like it would have been actually 4 books, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, some of them aren't as long as the others, not to spoil, but like there's deaths at different times. Um, you know, but yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, no, so that was just my Paul Auster story where I kind of made a little bit of a fool of myself, but I have a signed copy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. I would ask you what your favorite bookstore is, but we'll just say it's probably the digital bookstore at kobo.com.
Yes, it is. I mean, I love the digital bookstore. I do have a soft spot for like bookstores in general. And one of the ones that I've been really liking, if you can't get the book digitally yet, because like, so I'm from Ireland, and sometimes books are released there months before they're available in Canada, for shame. traditional books. So what I've been doing is there's this bookstore called Kenny's.ie that's available online. It's an actual bookstore that's in Galway in Ireland, and I had never discovered it before the pandemic. I can't even remember how I found it. I think I was trying to find indie bookstores that would deliver worldwide, and they deliver worldwide for like €1. And they have all these books. And sometimes it's very hard to find like Irish specific books, and if they come out first. So what I've been doing is like ordering my books there and then waiting before I can order the digital version to be available for my Kobo.
Cool.
So yeah, Kenny's.ie. It's just this
cool.
independent bookstore that's run by, I think it's 100 years old. They were just celebrating that. So that would be kind of one of my shout outs, I think.
Great. Yeah. I was thinking, if you're looking for new features to add to your digital device, I would say that when I open a new story, that if I get that smell of a book, or if it's an old classic, like the old classic book smell, I would be all over that. That'd be great.
Did you? Oh, well, actually, this is wonderful timing. You should go onto Kobo's social, because if you go onto Kobo's Facebook or Instagram, on April 1st, we posted a perfume called Kobo Papier. And it was sort of an April Fool's, like smells like old books. It's the essence of reading. Really wanted to entice you in. And then it was announced a few days ago that it is actually not April Fool's. We're doing a small run of this perfume, which is very funny, I thought. Yeah, so we've partnered with a perfumery to make a little run. And yeah, so there's a contest running right now. So if you go and tag your friend, you might be able to get a limited edition batch of this.
That would be cool. I was thinking I should look up the old scratch and sniff stickers and see if they got any for that old book smell and put it on my device, and you can scratch it every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm really curious to smell this. I'd have to enter myself, but I don't know if that's allowed to try and win this perfume, because there's something very calming about that smell.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if my wife would appreciate. Here, I want you to smell like an old book.
Maybe you just spritz it like when you're reading, it's just you put it on that reading chair. It's your favorite. Yeah.
Right. Maybe if I do a live appearance someday in the future, you can spray it and give everybody that feeling.
Exactly. Yeah. I know it's kind of those things that you didn't really realize that you missed until somebody's like, "We've made a perfume of that." You're like, "Yeah, I want that."
Well, actually, with all the books I do have, it's fairly easy to get that smell. We've got enough books between everybody here. So
fair.
Tara, it's been great talking to you. I appreciate you taking some time, letting us know more about Kobo and what it offers readers. I think this has been great. Before we go, though, is there anything else with Kobo or your devices that you'd like to let everyone know or mention?
I mean, a lot of it is still kind of top secret on what we're working on. But I would say if you're interested in Kobo's devices and kind of maybe where we're expanding Kobo Plus to next, I would say to follow our social. So you can find us by searching Kobo on like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. And then you'll see we do have a device coming out in the very near future that I'm quite excited about. So I would keep an eye out for that. And if you're interested in publishing your books to Kobo through Kobo Writing Life, I would say check us out too. If you have any questions, you can email the team at writinglife@kobo.com.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's been great talking to you today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is great.
Thank you for listening to Discovered Wordsmiths. Come back next week and listen to another author discuss the road they've traveled, and maybe, sometime in the near future, it might be you.